What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk to you about NIO. I want to go over some of the data points, what's moving it, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So NIO is down almost about 3%, 5.23 the high, $5 the low. So unfortunately, it did break a key support level. That was pretty much done during the pre-market. So they did put out news, and for the most part, things were actually looking like NIO was going to really move higher, but it did rest on that 520, and no different than the last couple trading days. For those of you that have been kind of tuning into a lot of my videos, one of the biggest reasons why NIO has been kind of losing a lot of momentum is because of shorts. And as per usual, they like to double and triple down on key levels. So it landed on kind of that 520 mark, and unfortunately when the market did open, they just hit it really hard. At the same time, we are also seeing fairly low volume, so about 29 million shares being traded. When it comes down to NIO, they did put out news, the highly anticipated news. So for those of you that have been kind of watching my channel, I've been saying that they're going to be most likely announcing the date of their earnings, and that usually does cause a little bit of FOMO. Clearly, inverse type of scenario did play out, but then again, NIO did put out quite a lot. So NIO did announce the date of their earnings to be March the 10th, and historically, if we kind of look over here, it's usually second, third week of March, give or take. It's kind of, again, kind of all over the place for the most part, but again, they kind of moved it up a little bit in comparison to last year. But NIO also did put out this right here. So this was official news. So NIO's subsidiary enters into definitive agreement. So this is part of their chips. And the big thing is, so even though this is PR, the biggest takeaway is that NIO now owns 62.7% instead of 100%. So that possibly could be one reason why NIO is going down, and plus institutions might be selling. We also did have this news that came out. So NIO establishes battery tech company in Shanghai with $14.6 million registered capital. Again, for face value, it shouldn't really affect NIO all that much, but maybe all of this is just there's some fine line that the market generally doesn't want. Or maybe just too much moving parts. But even if we look at Lee, which is down 3.7, Xpeng, which is down 3.1, it's just consolidation day, red day across the board. So let me know your general thoughts on that in the comments below, and what's your viewpoint on NIO kind of moving up the date of their earnings. I know Wall Street generally likes to sometimes overthink that because typically it's seen as, if a company moves it up, then it's seen as positive, or if they kind of push it back, then that's negative. So what's your kind of general thoughts? But as I have already mentioned, shorts are hitting it hard today. So shorts are increasing about 504,000 shares. 7.6% of the free float is being shorted. Works to be 156 million shares overall are being shorted. You have been seeing some pretty good transactions. So some institutions have been buying over the last several, or more so the week, because the shares on loan have been jumped, going higher and higher. So what that ultimately means is institutions have been buying it, but for the purposes of lending it out. So again, something to kind of keep in mind. This is why when a lot of individuals kind of post about 13Fs, they get all excited. Sometimes you kind of have to dive deep into what institutions typically do. I know BlackRock, Vanguard, Jane Street, those are some very common ones that buy stock and love to lend it out. So usually when BlackRock buys, sometimes that's not always the best. But again, at the peak, shorts are increasing about 2.3 million shares. So shorts are still making up for a good amount of the daily volume. So as per usual, they're just trying to hit it hard on some key levels. Looking at the options, 2.3 million in calls, 1.9 in puts. Over the last couple of trading days, we've been getting a lot of volume. Today seems to be a little bit on the kind of quiet side, but 50% of all the options being done are bearish in nature. So again, you kind of have a very quick 180 from what's been happening the last couple of trading days. From a bull standpoint, you see a consensus for it to be roughly around 5 by the end of tomorrow, and then 550 for the following week. Bears are anticipating for it to be kind of sub 450 to 5, between that range. With tomorrow being Friday though, we do have about 1,000 at that $4 strike price, 2,000 at that 450, 14,000 at the 5, and then 46,000 at the 550. So possibly that could be one reason why shorts have been really doubling down the last 3 consecutive days, just to kind of break it and have most of that, probably even the $5 strike price, expire worthless. These are all the non-existent transactions occurring on the secondary market above $100,000. So institutions just flip-flop. Sometimes they get FOMO, they just go full on, full tilt buying into NIO, and then other days like yesterday and today, they just don't want anything to do with it. Very comical, kind of. Frustrating sometimes too, but these are some of the transactions occurring on the dark pool, and so given how active shorts are, it is fair to assume that a lot of this is kind of linked to them. No different than the last couple of trading days, but right now with it exactly at 505, it is currently below this key level. So it was during the pre-market at least between this R2 and this R1, so that 520 needed to hold. And unfortunately, it didn't. So you do have that $5 kind of psychological pivot point in between this R1 and the pivot. And if that does fail to hold, and again, if history is going to repeat itself tomorrow, shorts are really going to double and triple down to ensure NIO closes below $5 tomorrow. So again, that's something that they've done typically. Then 485 is going to be the following support level. So I would like to say that I'm surprised, but this is something that has happened many times in the past. NIO gains a little bit of momentum right over here, especially end of December, and then shorts just hammer it hard just to kind of break it. And that 200-day moving average generally is a very big deal, and they know that. This is why they hit it hard, especially yesterday and today. So right now we are technically below even that 10-day moving average. So we didn't even clear that 200. Right now we're below that 10-day moving average, so kind of signaling that we are losing a little bit of momentum. That 10-day moving average is sitting at 505. So ideally we close above that, and then we kind of just trade within this range possibly tomorrow. But if we do close below that 10-day moving average, then potentially you could be seeing that 50 maybe retested and have that as the temporary bottom. But let me know your viewpoint on kind of NIO. Looking at the market position, you see a little bit more willing sellers. That's more sub 520. But at the same time, you still have a lot of willing buyers. So still, as what I've mentioned, NIO is one of the most unpredictable stocks out there. But all it needs is a nice gentle push, and then we could be seeing a nice push to at least that 100-day moving average. But again, there was a lot of different things that did come out. So we had the earnings, kind of a new creation, new subsidiary. We had kind of a new moving of kind of ownership percentage with the chip company. So there's just a lot of things for the market to digest. And plus overall, if we kind of look down here, Nasdaq's down 1.3%, S&P down 0.58. So market's not really that optimistic right now. And so a lot of companies are kind of pivoting to risk off. So this is why we're also seeing some fairly low volume. So let me know your thoughts on NIO. Are you buying? Are you selling? What's your general takeaway from everything? One final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you're looking for some solid buy signals though. Despite everything that's been happening, a lot of my kind of signals have been hitting the kind of exactly on the point. So worthwhile to kind of pop over there and check that out. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.